I'm here with defending champs, Coach. How are you, Coach?
Very well. How are you?
Man,
Yeah,
it's a beautiful day.
absolutely.
We're a couple of days away, 48 hours actually away from the official start. How are you feeling about, Friday, getting your guys back on the field and,
It's
getting
like
to work?
it's like I'm a little kid and it's Christmas Eve coming. That's what it's like, and I'm excited. It's that time of year, obviously, where we get to see how much young men have improved,
Right.
in the off season and when the work that they've done and all the time they've put in, and we get to go back doing what we love to do.
Right. And it's always, a new season. You got to deal with the turnovers from last year, with the guys leaving and the guys coming back. You lost a lot of key guys, right?
Sure.
But with that, you got a lot of guys that are ready to prove themselves and ready to step up and leave their own mark on the team, right? As a head coach, when you see those guys and coming in and they want to continue on with what those other guys have built, how much easier is that for you as a head coach, knowing that you got a lot of guys that want to come in and work and are going to do whatever it takes to get you guys to where you guys want to be.
Well, you said a couple of really good things there, which is, they've had the experience, okay, but they also know they have to get better. The younger guys below them, sophomores, and even juniors didn't play for us, saw the work that was done. And if they want to accomplish certain goals, whether they're personal or team orientated, they know it has to be done. There is some comfort with obviously having players back. You'd rather have a lot of players back than none,
Right.
right? I mean, we can't go out and draft guys, pick guys up off the free agent wire. It's who you have in your building, and hopefully they come out and do what they do. But I think it is beneficial, obviously, to have players back.
Right. And last year, you guys kind of had it was like a little moment in the season. I think you guys got hit with the injury bug a little bit, right? But your team was still able to persevere and make it back to Gillette Stadium. How, what did that show as far as like characterized from your guys?
Well, I've often used this when people have asked me, resilience. It's a term we use, but I'm going to go back to a Hall of Fame coach, Coach Armand Carviello, who was the coach back in the late '60s, who coached Coach Stevenson, who was the head coach prior to myself. And it's always this: it's not what you've done, it's what are you going to do. Okay, and as long as we're on that track and getting better every play, every quarter, every game, then we're going to be the best that we can be.
Uh, Catholic Conference, one of the most grueling conference in the state. There's no nights off, and on top of that, you guys have a very strong non-conference schedule, right? How well, how much satisfaction is that your guys are always tested?
Well, if you want to get better, and I think everybody wants to get better, you got to play the best. Many years ago, we played Brockton when a lot of teams in the state wouldn't, and we took a 52-17 whooping. The first year, they were the #1 team in the country prior to losing to Leominster that year, and had some phenomenal players, great staff. But if you don't test yourself, you'll never get to where you want to be. I mean, if you are just if you're the tough guy, whatever, in your neighborhood, and you never go outside of that, you're not going to get better. And then when you have to, you're not going to be prepared.
Right. Speaking of Brockton, there's so much history between Xaverian and Brockton. But how good was it you guys played them in the playoffs just for that game to happen in the playoffs in that setting? Because throughout history, there's been so many games in the playoffs and regular season that the two schools have been a part of. But I mean, how good was that for each community for that game?
It was fantastic. I think it was great for, obviously, the game of football in the state of Massachusetts, and for us as a program. As I said, we've been playing them for a number of years. The first year we played them, we came out just for pregame, and it was standing room only, and the hair on the back of your neck stood up. So it's a little bit different when you played that game, just because of, first of all, who they were at the time and who they're going to become. I think, again, they can get there. And like you said, the history of the games that we've played, blowouts, close games, that type of thing on both sides. And that I think that whenever you can, have that type of an atmosphere in high school football, it's good for the game.
Right. For you guys, being able, I know how proud you were after that win over Needham in the state finals. All right, you guys, and it's back to work again rest after the season start. But your quarterback, he's really has taken it upon himself to be the leader for this group during this off season and during these 7-on-7s, right?
Yeah.
And the quarterback extension of the head coach, right? Just mature, how his maturation since his freshman year, it's really been like this.
He, he might have struggled a little bit, but he really, I believe it was a self-confidence thing that he had it, but he wasn't exactly sure. And then by mid-season, he was sure, and he listens to coaching. And it's like, you go to 7-on-7s. What do people want to do? Throw the ball deep. Take what the defense gives you. It's only 7-on-7. Who cares? You're not keeping score, but you don't want to get that bad habit.
Right.
He's benefited from some really good coaching. When he was with us as a freshman, Matt Hasselbeck was our assistant quarterback coach, and he got to see Henry play and watch that. Last year, Brian Hoyer was with us a little bit, who played for the Patriots for many years. And my quarterback coach, Billy Carvin, was a head college football coach out at Nichols College for 14 years. So he understands that they know the game and they're trying to help him get better. Sometimes young people are like, yeah, just a dumb high school coach. No, and he has taken that, and he is a leader. He was a great leader in the off season in the weight room for us, both in the spring, winter as well, and now in the summertime. So he's got to get better. Okay, if he's an extension of me, then he doesn't have to go that far to get better. But he has to get better like all of our players, and he's more than up for that challenge.
Yeah, for you, what have you seen during these like off-season workouts that you when you're implementing your the system as the season goes on? What have you seen that you kind of saw that was like, okay, this is when we start implementing this, it's going to be a lot easier for these guys, just judging from what I'm seeing either from the 7-on-7 or from like conditioning work at the school. Like,
well, as far as the game itself, a little bit of familiarity because two of the wide receivers he threw to last year are back as well. So you don't know 100%, but he knows where he's going to be on a certain route, and the timing comes a lot easier and faster, type of thing. Because even in the 7-on-7s, we didn't always have the same guys at vacations and whatnot. So I think that is going to help tremendously, because the less that you have to implement, the more you can do, if that makes any sense. If we already have done A, B, C, and D, and we go over it when we start on Friday, but we don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time on that, so now we can progress E, F, G, hopefully.
for you as a head coach, each year, it's like how is it for you? Because coaching is not it's a 365 day, 7-day a week job, right? And you've seen players come and go. You've seen like kids coming, players' nephews, and stuff like that. When for a head coach, where does the enthusiasm come from? Where does the motivation come from? Where do you get your spark from?
Well, for me, the opportunity to go out and work with some of the finest men, young men that play football in the state of Massachusetts, who want to get better and want to compete. That's what gets me going. Win, lose, or draw. Now everybody here, wants to win, and sometimes some of life's lessons happen when you don't. But we're all striving for one goal, getting better every play. And to be with young men who want to do the same thing. And nobody's bending my arm or bending any coach's arm here to coach. Okay, sometimes you get really good teams that don't have leadership, but you win because they're better than anybody. Sometimes you have other teams that might not be as talented, but they work really hard. Seeing the maturation of a young man when he comes into your building as a freshman or a 7th grader, and see him grow. That's maybe selfish, but that's pretty rewarding, watching that young man. And whatever I know everybody here wants to play in the NFL, right? Well, it's not happening. It doesn't happen, okay? But if they can learn life lessons, they're always talking about there are these things esoterically that people don't think about. Learning to be a leader, taking direction, being subservient. Hey, I want to be the starting fullback. Yeah, well, we need a guard. You want to be the starting fullback? Well, you're 4th in line, but you're going to start at guard. So seeing a young man see that and seeing it click that he's there for the betterment of the program, that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah. How much easier is that to coach when you see a guy, you might be talented over here, but we see your talent, it's good there, but right now we need you over here, and they check their own egos and they're like, for the betterment of the team, finding a way to get on the field.
Yeah. That's a wonderful thing. They might fight it at first. And it's not so much about playing time, but from they were this big, he might have been the best guy in Pop Warner or youth. Well, everybody out there is pretty good that you're probably practicing against. So how can you get on the field? Is it special teams? Is it like I said, changing position even for that 1 year. We got to do what's best for the team. It's still spelled TEAM.
Yes, yes, yes. Together, everyone accomplishes more.
Absolutely.
Who you guys got week 1?
Bishop Fian.
You guys got it's
Down there, and it's going to be a hornet's nest.
right.
I know they're the Shamrocks, but it's going to be a wild place.
And that's one thing I've noticed. I've seen some of the schedules from a variety of teams this week, and the week 1 matchups across the state. So many teams,
St.
so
John
many
Shrewsbury,
great.
Springfield Central.
I think Andover and Wellesley
Yeah.
going at so many great week 1 games,
it's
right?
good to see that. And that is part of as much as nobody really likes the playoff thing, losing is a little bit. It's good to go out and compete. And if you lose and that team is really good, you're going to get benefits later on down the road.
Right.
That's the way the points work. But it's good that people challenge themselves because, like I said, you're not going to get better playing the little sisters of the poor.
Right. And, also Leominster and St. John Shrewsbury, they're gonna be going St. John's Prep and Springfield Central week 1. It's hey man, this is I know it's cliche, but football in Massachusetts is really something special. It's really something special.
It is, and events like this bring light to that, so people that might not be exposed to understand. Go to a game, and maybe you're not from that town, but shoot, go to the games.
Right.
Support athletics in the state.
Right. Lastly, before we get out of here, I mean, we was just talking about your quarterback, but I was just talking to Coach Fielding about this. But throughout Massachusetts, the quarterbacks in Massachusetts, in each class, there are a lot of talented quarterbacks.
There is.
You have one. You've had the opportunity to coach 2 great young men at quarterbacks. We've seen the young man Chris Vargas. He gets some recognition this morning. Osiris Lopez over there. I know Situate, they had a good quarterback. So much. Peter Bork, he just committed to Michigan.
Right.
And there's other quarterbacks too. But can you just talk about that? Just the amount of good young quarterbacks there is in the state.
Well, I think what happened, to just feed off that a little bit, I've been asked by reporters, what do you think's happened? Why do we have this? I go, well, for years the Northeast was known for 2 things, hockey and basketball. Well, what are they? They're indoor sports.
Right.
Football shut down after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Now with these indoor facilities and guys like M2Q and, I should know this because the Peanut Boy played for me, it's quarterback velocity, where they're doing year-round training and they're just getting better. And now when they go to these camps, they're ready. Where nationally before your arm wasn't ready,
Right.
and whatever you're doing, your drops and things like that, and even the learning part of the game, what a lot of these programs do with their kids, they bring them in, they watch film, and people, let's face it, you know what? It's a good way to get either a free education or get an education you normally wouldn't get. And we always tell our young men, use athletics to enhance educational opportunities. Maybe you don't get into Amherst College, but with football, it helps. Or Endicott, or wherever. Right. So I think that's a little bit of the lure, it's a little bit of the carrot on the stick. Right. But I think that, because of the internet and people say all this exposure that's out there, they're doing it, and for a lot of them, it's benefiting them, which is, again, that's good for football.
Yeah, definitely good for everybody around, especially good for us fans and also for the people that cover the sport. Coach, plug in the team's social media, if they want to know more about Xaverian football.
Sure. The Instagram page is just XBHS Football. There's also a Twitter page, which is the same. You'll get it both there. And, most of our young men are on it. There are some videos from games or off-season activities. So I encourage all of you just to take a look and see.
All right, Coach Fornaro.
Thank you.
My man, appreciate it.
Anytime.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been to a Catholic Memorial Xaverian football game, I suggest you go this year. Because you won't be disappointed.
It's always electric. We're fortunate. We've got a lot of all our games are tough, but we've got some home games this year. I think there'll be some standing room only crowds.
Yeah,
It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll be up in the press box.
Good.
So. We're out of here, ladies and gentlemen.